For a lot of guys, the big problem, and for a lot of clients that I work with, the big problem is that they have the biggest blocks from communicating who they are, from communicating what they want with women, with girls who are attractive, just girls who are good looking. So I'll be going about my day, we'll be going about our day, and a guy will have no problem at all starting a conversation with a girl, having an engaging conversation, getting her to laugh, getting himself to laughing, having a great time. And then I'll say, okay, well, that's amazing, good job. And the first thing he'll say is, yeah, but I wasn't attracted to her. And that is, I think, the predicament of a lot of guys, is that you can talk to girls, right? But when it's a girl who you think is hot, a girl who you think is attractive, suddenly you can't do it. Suddenly then you have to put on an act, or then you have to start saying some kind of a line, and then you start thinking about all the different theories that you read about on the internet. And basically your mind just starts fucking with you. Because, not because you're talking to another person, but because this person that you're talking to is physically attractive, right? Do you...
Yeah, it's this need to improve yourself, to how can I be this man, how could I be this cool guy, and it's this feeling that you're not good enough, and it's almost this feeling of trying to impress the hot girl.
Right. So
rather than just being yourself, you have this need to impress the hot girl.
The biggest problem every single time is the feeling of, and I think you can understand this, it's the feeling of, I'm not good enough, right? I'm not good enough to attract that girl. I'm not funny enough to get her to laugh. I'm not attractive enough to get her to go on a date with me. I'm not, I wasn't interesting enough to get a second date, right?
Or maybe you know you're good enough deep down, but you're like, how can I prove that I am good enough for this girl?
Yeah. It's the fear that the fear that you might not be, right, good enough for this girl. And it's, if you really look at what's going on, the only reason that you think you're not good enough is because this girl's attractive to you. It's because she's physically attractive. So what you've basically done is you've set a value on somebody, on another human being, for their physical appearance. And that is something that we tend to do as human beings. It's just the way that it is. But it's extremely but if we don't realize why we're doing it, and if we don't realize that it's actually us doing it to ourselves, it's not something that just sort of happens and we wake up and all of a sudden you're nervous talking to a cute girl and you're not nervous talking to a girl who you don't think is cute. You're actually trained yourself through growing up, the process of going through school, going through high school, going through college, all the social pressures that are around you. You've trained yourself to think this way, to let your own judgments of another person dictate the way that you behave in front of them. And it's what Luke was talking about, value, is you basically assign a value to somebody. So what you do, and I've talked about this in another video as well, what we do is first thing that comes to mind is we think, okay, we start rating girls, right, on a scale of 1 to 10. Oh, she's a 9. Oh, she's a 10. But really, in fact, you're not actually rating other people, or if it's a girl who you don't think is attractive, right? Oh, she's a 6. Oh, she's a 5. What you're actually doing in every single one of those instances is you're really assigning a number to yourself. And that's really what the key is here, and that's really the thing that we need to break out of. That's the cycle that we need to break out of, is thinking that we're assigning numbers to other people, we're judging other people, but really all we're doing is we're judging ourselves, right? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so like initially that kind of clicks, but as we go more in depth in this idea, that concept of judging yourself when you judge other people is going to really start clicking once we start explaining this more.
Okay.
So when I first realized, I never remember having any anxiety or any need to prove myself to other people when I was a kid. But I remember right when I started going through puberty, sometime in middle school, 8th grade, I started to notice the values in people. I started to notice that there were some popular kids in school. And I also noticed that there were some kind of like kids no one really wanted to hang out with in school. I noticed that there were the hot girls and the popular girls, and there were these girls that no one really wanted to hang out with. And I started to notice how society kind of had values for people. And I started to realize that I kind of adopted to those values. And I started to see people as values. It's something that we naturally do.
So what you're doing, yeah, exactly. So what you're doing in essence is you're judging other people, right? You're making judgments. You're assigning other people labels because you're judging them, and that's okay, because that's the way that just the way that we make sense of the world. You'll hear a lot of people say, "Don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental." Well, it's not a matter of not being judgmental, but it's a matter of being aware when you are being judgmental and being aware of what that means when you're being judgmental. So one form of judging somebody would be to say, this person's popular, and this person's not popular. Or to say, for example, with girls, you say, okay, this girl's beautiful, this girl's physically attractive, and this girl's not physically attractive. Now that's a judgment call that you're making. And it's okay to make those judgment calls, but see what's happening when you're doing these, because judgments work on a scale, work on a spectrum of one extreme to the other extreme. And so if you judge somebody for how physically attractive they are, for example, you say, okay, well, she's hot and she's not hot. The more that you place and emphasize this idea of somebody being hot, or this idea of somebody being popular, or anything like that, the more that you emphasize one of those, the more you're actually in fact also emphasizing the other side. So you say somebody's physically attractive, well, what that really means is that other people who don't look like that person are not so physically attractive, right? Other people who don't have the characteristics of that person who you're saying is hot, who you're saying is so hot, aren't as hot. And you're not only assigning those labels to other people, but you're actually also assigning them to yourself. So by lumping a group of people together, group of girls together, and saying she's hot because she's tall and thin and blonde and she has long legs and big boobs, whatever qualities that turn you on. By doing that, what you're really doing is you're emphasizing you're emphasizing the beauty in them, but you're also emphasizing the lack of beauty in yourself. You see, the lack of beauty that you have in your own life right now. And the more that we fixate on this idea of somebody being attractive, being hot, being cute, being sexy, and try to get that, we want that, right? She's hot. The more that we try to get that, the more we're emphasizing the fact that we don't have it right now in ourselves. See, and when we don't have it right now in ourselves, all we're doing is feeding the anxiety and feeding the fear that you're not good enough. Maybe you're not good enough.
And that's why lots of dating advice videos or any self-development videos online, there's a big emphasis on how you can improve your value. It's subconsciously subconsciously people realize all this whole value system, and then they look for advice, and lots of the advice online is stuff like work out, or like you see all these guys working out to impress people, to impress girls, or to become more popular, or go approach a bunch of girls, or get rich. If only I had rich, I could attract that girl. If only I was more buff, I could attract that girl. And this whole way of thinking of, because that girl's hot and other girls are ugly, that I must compare myself to other guys too. And that's why I must work out, and when I work out, I'll go from a 7 to an 8. And it's really instilling this judgment system on other people and yourself, because you want to raise your value.
Right. So when you're on the internet and you're seeing products, or you're seeing the messages saying that, showing you how to get better at something, how to up yourself, how to up the level, those messages need to be there, because what they're really doing is they're hitting on our pain points. And the things that get us to buy something, overwhelmingly, the messages that get us to buy the most are messages that hit on our lack, hit on where we don't have enough. And instead of allowing us to see that us not having enough is a symptom of our own creation, they have to sell us something. So they're selling us the solution that's outside of ourselves. So all we're doing is we're always buying something. We're always consuming more and more information on how to be better, how to be better, how to be better.
And it's really easy to buy into those videos. If I just get buff, I'll attract girls. If I just make more money, I'd attract girls. If I would just approach 1,000 girls, then I would be good enough to attract girls. But what you're really doing is trying to up your own value. And you're climbing this ladder. And the thing is, that ladder is infinitely tall. That ladder, you never reach the top of the ladder.
Yep. You can never be rich enough. You can never have a girlfriend who's hot enough. You can never approach enough girls, sleep with enough girls. You can never get enough stuff into your life. And the reason why is because, like we just said, it all works on a spectrum. So that the more you're emphasizing one end of the spectrum, the more you're emphasizing, you're saying, okay, I need all that stuff, I'm gonna get all that stuff, I'm gonna get there one day. What you're actually doing is you're also at the same time emphasizing the fact that you don't have it inside of yourself right now. The real key, the real solution.
Yeah, and so I have lots of guys that I'm coaching, like they say, I watch all these videos online, and it's like they even do sometimes take action on ways to improve their value. but they never feel good about themselves and they never get results. They just keep on watching videos from different people, and this video keeps instilling in them the mind of the ladder, that they have to keep improving and upping their value. And all this is doing is confirming the belief in them that this ladder exists, that there is this ladder, and that there's hot girls here and they're here and they have to get to here.
Yeah. And I'll give you a quick preview, but really the only way to escape that ladder, to escape that kind of never-ending cycle, is to realize that the only way to really come to an understanding, come to a sense of fulfillment, is to realize that you are of infinite value, you're of infinite worth. But you can only recognize that in yourself if you also recognize it in another person. And that's the hard part. That's the toughest part, because like we said earlier, we go about our day, we go about our lives judging of other people, judging other things as being desirable or not desirable, as being worthy or not worthy, as being attractive or not attractive. And so,
so you realize that the ladder kind of exists, but the ladder is an illusion. It's kind of similar to like the ego. Like Eckhart Tolle says, yes, the ego is there, but to just recognize that the ego is there and that the ego is an illusion, and then go on about your life. The ladder exists. Like you can kind of see it, how hot girls get more attention than ugly girls. It's something to acknowledge that we have this human nature of survival of the fittest and placing values on people.
Yeah, well, I think we have a human nature of always wanting to be something of substance, something of more substance, of more stuff, of more worth than we are right now. Because if we really were to it's a scary thought, but if we really were to, and this is another topic, but if we really were to analyze who we are, what we are, and we sat with just ourselves in a quiet room, just alone by ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, our spirit, whatever you want to call it, we would realize that it starts going into interesting places, because it's impossible to grasp what we really are. It's very, very difficult. And what our minds always want to do is conceptualize it. We want to put it into something that we know. Once we have that hot girlfriend, then we know that we're of value. Then we know we have some substance.
Once we're rich, then we'll be of value. Once we have that body and we're buff, then we could do A or do B or whatever it is.
Right. So the way to get out of this cycle, and I'm sure a lot of you, a lot of people listening, a lot of you guys listening right now understand this. I certainly understand it, and Luke certainly understands that some people it's just really easy to talk to, but then when it's somebody who's, it's a beautiful girl, or it's a famous guy, or it's there's some rich guy that you know, suddenly you get all nervous, and you say, oh my God, I don't know how to act. Now you have to start putting on an act. You have to start acting not like yourself, which nobody wants to do, which feels terrible. So the best way to start conceptualizing it, to start relaxing away from that, away from attaching yourself to the judgments, is to realize that you don't need to get any of it. You don't need to have these things. You don't need to bring these things into your life. Because by trying to bring these things into your life, like we just said, we're emphasizing the fact that we don't have it right now. We're emphasizing the fact that all the beauty that we're trying to get, there's ugliness all around us. Always. There's always ugliness within us. We're both beautiful and we're ugly. We're human beings. By trying to get all the beauty, we're trying to push away all the ugliness. We're trying to deny who we really are. So instead of trying to get the beauty, to get the money, simply appreciate it. Simply appreciate that it's there. Because when you start appreciating that the beauty is there, it's right in front of you, these things flow into you, and they flow out of you, and they flow through you, and they flow all around you, and they're an extension of you, yourself.
And the next step would be to start treating everyone as if on an equal plane. Treating everyone as if everyone has infinite value, infinite worth, everyone is worth infinity. That hot girl is, why do you act nervous around her compared to an ugly girl? It's because you want to get something out of her. It's you see her as higher value than, there's more to get out of her than the ugly girl. And when you stop trying to get anything out of anyone and just treating everyone the same, treating everyone as equals, that judgment on yourself starts to go away. You gotta start treating everyone as equals. Everyone is the same. Everyone has the same worth, infinite worth. And when you do that, you stop judging yourself as much. When you stop judging yourself as much, you interact with people based on connecting with them. based on just going with the flow and connecting with them rather than trying to get anything out of them, rather than trying to get approval from that celebrity or getting that hot girl to like you. Instead, you don't want approval from that celebrity just as much as you don't want approval from that homeless person. You're just interacting and going through life based on connection and seeing where you connect with people.
That's right. So when you get, that's exactly right. So treating people equally. Well, how do we do that? It's so difficult, right? You can say that to ourselves now, but then when we're in the situation, you still get nervous. You just say, how am I going to treat this? How am I going to treat this pretty girl the same as I treat my sister, right? It's difficult, right? But there are places, there are times in our lives, there are areas in our lives where we actually live free of these judgments. We don't make these judgments of something being beautiful and something being ugly. In the article that Luke was talking about, the example that I give, the easiest example to think of is our family members or our friends. You don't judge your friends so hard for being unattractive. Some people do, but not nearly as hard as a stranger. When you're walking down the street and you're walking down a tree-lined street and you see all the trees there, how often do you stop and say, "Oh, those other trees suck. This one tree, that one tree, that's the good one. That's the tree that I want. That's the tree that I want to go walk up to." No. Sometimes you'll see a beautiful tree. You'll see a great-looking tree, and you'll say, "That's an amazing-looking tree." But see, the way that you're looking at the tree is you're just appreciating it. You're appreciating it as one tree among all the others. You're appreciating it as a tree that adds beauty to the landscape, and it's the landscape and the tree together that create the beauty, right? Same when you're looking up in the stars. When you're looking at a starry night sky, you don't look up at the stars and love the big bright shiny stars and try to get rid of the small stars. You like them all together. You like the whole totality of it. So it is seeing that things are simply the way that they are without your judgments of them. Because when you're judging another person, you're really judging yourself. And when you see a hot girl over there and you say, "She's hot," God, she's hot. She is going to look the way that she looks with or without your judgments. Your judgments have no bearing on who she is, because she's going to keep walking down the street and go about her day, and you're going to be off thinking about something else, and she's still going to look exactly the way that she looks, regardless of how you sized her up. So really your judgments of other people, of girls especially, they don't define that girl as being cute or ugly. What they really do is they define you. All of our judgments define us, and they define who we are, and they define the value that we see in ourselves and in other people.
So I really think all anxieties stem from this need to prove yourself, to prove that you're the man, to provide that you're, I like to say, like buff money, that you could give value, that you're a high value person, and that there's this ladder you have to climb. That's where all anxieties come from, that you have to prove yourself. And once you let go of that ladder, you see that ladder is an illusion. And you could stop needing to prove yourself to people. You could just interact with people based on connection. I'm going to explain a great way to think about it, but Shogo shared with me this metaphor the other day when we were just talking about this idea. Think about when you go to buy a bike. You see, let's say, 10 bikes. Now, let's say your favorite color is blue. Now, you see 10 bikes, they're all different colors. You're going to treat all these bikes as bikes. They're just all bikes. One bike isn't better than the other bike. However, because you see the blue bike, your preference, the blue bike will be your preference. So you'll end up going and buying the blue bike. That's perfectly fine. You appreciate the beauty of your preference, of that you have that connection with that bike. However, at the same time, you're not going to see any of the other bikes as higher or lower value than the bike you like. It's just the fact that you like that bike. And a really great way to really conceptualize and ground the idea that we're sharing is to see life like a dream. So when you fall asleep at night, you fall asleep and you have a dream, and in that dream, you have yourself, the dream character, and you also have all these other dream characters that you interact with. You have dream buildings, dream cities and towns. But when you wake up from your dream, you realize that the whole dream was actually you. Every character was actually you and stimulated from your mind. And you could actually take that model and way of thinking to real life. You could actually look around and see everyone as you. If you want, you could say, see the divine in everyone. You could see everyone as God. That's like seeing oneness in everyone. And you see, like right now I see Shogo, and I'm doing my best to see Shogo as myself. Or I see you as me. Fred just walked by, I saw Fred as me. And what I'm working on is going about my day and seeing everyone as myself. I see a homeless person as myself. I see a really hot girl as myself, and I see everyone as one. Everyone as there is no value. Everyone is equal. Everyone is oneness. And when you start to see everyone as one, just like in a dream, how everything is really all you. It's just a model of it's just a cool way of thinking. But take that thinking to real life and just see everyone as oneness. And no one's any better than anyone else. And when you start interacting with people like that, using that model of oneness, you stop judging people because you want the best for everyone. You're not trying to get anything out of everyone because we're all connected in oneness. So this is kind of a spiritual idea. But when you start seeing people like that as for their infinite value, their infinite worth, and their infinite spirit, you stop judging people. And when you stop judging people, you stop judging yourself. When you stop judging yourself, you don't try to impress anyone, and you can connect with people authentically. And that's when you could actually connect with that hot girl in an authentic way. And you could also think about the dream thing. Let's say you take that dream model and you judge a hot girl. Let's say you're dreaming, there's a hot girl in your dream, and you judge that hot girl in your dream as hot. Well, at the same time, if you're judging some girls hot, you're judging some girls ugly, right? And in that dream, you're judging the ugly girl. And in that dream, she's just a dream character, so you're actually judging yourself. It's just a cooler way to think of how you're judging yourself, because everyone in the dream is you. Everything is oneness. So anything you judge, you're actually judging yourself. I talked about this in another video I uploaded recently about how anything you judge is really judging yourself and extending your definition of myself to everything in life, the whole world, everyone. And when you really do that, that's when you can genuinely connect with people, because you're no longer judging people, you're no longer trying to impress people.
Yeah, that's great. That's an amazing analogy. I like that a lot. You don't even need to, if you don't like the dream model, you can take exactly what Luke said and apply that to this life right now. Because in reality, we are all dependent on each other. We all are interconnected, every single one of us. So that to have this conversation that we're having, I need Luke and Luke's dialogue, and Luke needs me and my dialogue, you see? And we actually need you to watch the video. So every single one of us is interconnected. All of our feelings are interconnected. All of our feelings depend on each other. And it is a constant cycle of energy, constant, constant, constant. So when you are confronted with the cute girl and the girl who's not so cute to you, see that in both of those girls, her pain is your pain. Her pleasure is your pleasure. So do your best to appreciate both of their presences in your life, because your life is made possible by every woman you come across, beautiful or ugly, doesn't matter.
So the next step would be starting to just play around with these beliefs, play around with these ideas that we're presenting to you guys, and then go experiment with living these ideas. Go around treating everyone as equals. Treat the not so attractive girls exactly the same as how you would treat the attractive girls. And this will take away those judgments of judging yourself. And you'll start to connect better with the unattractive girl, but you'll also start to connect better with that really attractive girl. Why? Because you're not judging her, you're not judging yourself. So that's the action step, is just treating people equally.
Yeah, you're
treating people for the infinite worth that they really are worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's really true. Your ability to connect with one person, regardless of what your judgment is of them, affects your ability to connect to every other person that you ever come across. And it's very important, very, very important to see the totality, to see the wholeness, to see the bigger picture, and to see that all of these things are progression of your life. All of these things are progression of the experience that you're having in life. And the beauty is that you have the absolute ability to direct the kind of experience that you want, to really create the kind of experience that you want. It's a beautiful thing, and there are so many opportunities out there. By sizing up and by emphasizing, I want this on one extreme and I don't want this on the other extreme, and you try to get rid of all the stuff that you don't like and try to get all the stuff that you do like, what you're doing is you're throwing that balance out of whack. What you're doing is you're not trusting the flow of things. You're not trusting that life will provide for you. You're not trusting that the flow of life is going to give you everything that you need. It's going to provide everything that you need. And it's really that trust in the process that is vital. And that trust in the process allows you to trust yourself and your place within the process. And when you can trust yourself, then the girls that you like, the girls that you're attracted to, all of these things start coming out within you.
And the cool thing is that all these judgments, perceptions, beliefs, they're all within your mind. You have complete 100% control on how you think about these things. Now, it might take time to completely ground different beliefs and experiment with things, but everything is completely in your control. And once you realize that, you could maybe even stop watching my videos. Like, you could use these videos as inspiration, but you could take your own power back because everything is within you. And just realizing that you have the ability to change your perceptions on things gives you infinite power to express your infinite worth and connect with other people at their true infinite worth and spirits as well.
That's right, because that's the real power that you actually wanted. It wasn't the power to get all these things. It wasn't the power to get higher and higher and higher, but it was the power of self-control. It was the power to direct your life the way that you want to direct it. That's where true satisfaction comes from. That's where the true fulfillment is.
Because that allows for true connection, and that's love, and that's a true desire. I'd say...
Well put. Very well put.
I'd say we could end it on that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Now you never need to watch a video on how to attract girls ever again. Just kidding, but...
Maybe. Well, if you really comprehend it, sure, possibly. But at the same time, any of these videos that you watch, I emphasize this all the time, and I know you do too, is that watch the videos because you enjoy watching them. It is really the thing. It's watch the videos because you appreciate it. Because you appreciate watching the videos, and you feel good, and why not? Why not? If you think this is a good experience to have, to watch the videos, then definitely watch it. Now, if you think you're gonna get something out of it, that's gonna bump you up to the next level, and then you're gonna get there, and you're gonna get that thing, and you get that hot girl, and get all that money, or whatever it is, I'll tell you right now, it's not gonna happen by watching any video, whether it's this video or anybody else's. So, follow the people who you enjoy following, because this is also a form of connection, even though, Luke and I can talk to each other, but we can't talk to you. We can talk to you in the comments. And we both do our best to talk in all the comments, but
all this is experience, and we enjoy talking about these types of things, and we appreciate that you enjoy listening to them. And all it is us bouncing energy off each other and inspiring each other. Mm-hmm. But as Shogo says, you're not going to watch this level and be bumped up, but we can help you realize that there's no need to be bumped up. Do what you love and realize that the ladder is imaginary, and connect authentically with everyone's infinite spirits.
It's the appreciation. That was good. I don't want to take away. I don't want to add on top of that. But it's the appreciation of what you're doing. So if you appreciate the videos, watch the videos. Yeah. That's really it, because this is the attitude. What you're experiencing right now, being able to appreciate what's happening right now, that's the attitude to take with you everywhere. That's the romantic attitude to take with you. So that when you see treating people equally is very important, and I think that might confuse some people in terms of well, how do I show the girl who's cute that I'm attracted to her? That's a completely different question. Maybe we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But the short end of it is that we're not saying to ignore the fact that you're attracted to somebody. We're saying treat people equally, see people as equal, see the inherent worth that cannot be sized up and compared to other people in every person. And when you see beauty, appreciate it. Appreciate it for what it is. Just like when you watch one of these videos, watch it because you appreciate it. So it is that when you talk to a girl who you think is cute, appreciate her beauty. If you buy a bicycle, like Luke said, and blue is your favorite color, appreciate the blueness of the bike, while at the same time knowing that simply because the bike's blue doesn't make it any better than any other bike.
By the way, check out the first line in the description for a link to Shogo's article for you to better ground these ideas.
Please do, and if you like it, I really like comments on the article. It's a new website. There's some other articles on there you might like, but this one in particular, if you enjoyed watching this video, I think you're really going to like the article as well. Peace.